this is us lectures 256. Don't forget to like, subscribe and follow. So today we are going to look at the nitrogen cycle, and we are going to look at how is the supply of nitrogen maintained in nature. One thing you need to know about the nitrogen cycle is a gaseous cycle. It's a gaseous cycle, just like what you see in the hydrological cycle and the carbon cycle. So in the same phase, nitrogen cycle is also a gaseous cycle, and the atmosphere is the largest reservoir of nitrogen. It is approximated that it has around 79–80% of nitrogen. But why? From our basic chemistry, we know that nitrogen has a triple bond between its atoms. Therefore, a lot of energy is needed to break down this triple bond. Therefore, a few organisms are able to utilize nitrogen in this state. However, they utilize nitrogen in different forms. Some can take up ammonia, others can take up nitrates, then a few plants can take up nitrogen in form of nitrites. And the nitrogen cycle can be summarized in, I think, around 3 forms, which I usually call phases. First of all is nitrogen fixation. The second one is nitrogen conversion. And the last one is nitrification. Then there is also uptake. And what we're going to look at is how does nitrogen come from the atmosphere and for it to be used up by the plants, which they call nitrogen fixation. Then we've seen the alternating forms upon which nitrogen is converted. How does nitrogen transit from being the nitrogen in the atmosphere to ammonia to nitrates, then later nitrites, which is nitrogen conversion, and the process is called, one of the processes is nitrification. Then uptake. After the conversion, how is nitrogen taken up by the plants? And then we shall look at the nitrification. We shall go into details of especially these two later in our discussion. But today we are going to have a summary of everything. So we say nitrogen can be fixed in different forms. One of them is by the industries. And from our basic agriculture, we were taught that nitrogen is usually applied in fertilizers in form of NPK, nitrogen, potassium, and nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But this nitrogen is not in form of the atmospheric nitrogen; it is in form of ammonium ions. So industrial fixation can be in form of ammonium ions. Or with the evolution of science, scientists have developed a technology or a science called hydroponics. So in hydroponics science, nitrogen is fixed in a gas in a liquid form. Hydroponics is where they grow plants without soil. So nitrogen can be fixed in form of NPK or using hydroponics. Now, we've seen this is fixation of nitrogen that is already existing. However, nitrogen can be got from the atmosphere fixed in form of ammonium ions. So we can get this nitrogen and fix it biologically to get ammonium ions. And this is what they call biological fixation of nitrogen. And biological fixation of nitrogen can be aided by different living organisms. Sometimes nitrogen can be fixed biologically by free fixers. For example, the azotobacter, or we have what they call the azotospirillum. So both of these are prefixes of nitrogen. They are found freely in the soil. They don't form any association with other organisms, and they have the ability to absorb atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into ammonium ions, which can be taken up by the plant, or they can be converted into other forms. The second one, it can be fixed by saprophytes. Saprophytes. And saprophytes are organisms that feed on dead, decaying organic matter, and they will convert it. They will fix nitrogen biologically through a process called mineralization. Mineralization, for example, when a cat dies, this cat shall be broken down from organic matter. Then this organic matter that will be formed will undergo another process called ammonification. Whereby it will be converted into ammonium ions. Then next is by mutualistic fixers. Mutualism is an association between two organisms of different species where both benefit from the relationship. Some of the examples of mutualistic fixers, we have the mycorrhizal association. Myco means fungi. Rhizo is root. So it's an association between fungi and plant roots. Some of the fungi that form this association include members of phylum Basidiomycota, and a lot of actinomycetes, or members of phylum Actinomycota. So these ones can form an association with plant roots, and they will fix nitrogen for the plant, and they will benefit by getting sugars from the plant. This is a mutualistic relationship. Then there are also what they call actinomycetes. Myocytes, or what they call by the actinomycota. So biological fixation is by prefixes, saprophytes, and mutualistic fixers. Then plants and animals can also fix nitrogen, but still in form of ammonia. How? When they die and decompose, they add ammonium compounds to the soil. But sometimes they also release their wastes. Things like urea, things like uric acid, and other compounds from the plant shall also contain ammonium compounds that shall add nitrogen to the soil. Then there are what we call symbiotic fixers. These symbiotic fixers, a symbiosis is still an association between two organisms of different species where both benefit from the relationship, but it is an obligated relationship. Then it can be formed or it can be left out. Then symbiotic fixation, hereby we have, let's say we have plants like legumes. They form an association with certain type of bacteria, the Rhizobium species. These ones are very many: the Actorhizobium, the Bradyrhizobium, the Rhodorhizobium. They will form an association with legumes, and they will fix atmospheric nitrogen, but they will convert it into ammonium ions. Then another example is the Azolla fan. This Azolla fan houses a certain form of bacteria called Anabaena azolei. This Anabaena azolei can fix atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into ammonium ions. So we've seen the various processes involved in nitrogen fixation, but you see all of them have yielded ammonia. But we say plants can take up nitrogen in form of ammonium, they can take it up in form of nitrites or in form of nitrates. So some plants can take up this ammonia, and actually some also living organisms that are living in the soil can take up the ammonium ions. However, nitrogen can also be fixed in form of nitrates. How? dureth by lightning. By lightning. So, whenever it is raining, lightning will provide energy that will break down the triple bond between the nitrogen atoms, and it will see that these nitrogen atoms will combine with the water to yield nitric acid. Then this nitric acid, when it reaches the soil, it will dissociate, forming hydrogen ions and nitrates. And these nitrates are the ones that will be taken up by the plant, and that is the form of nitrogen that is fixed by lightning. Then other processes that can enable nitrogen fixation include volcanistic, and things like forest fires. All these can fix nitrogen within the soil. However, we said some plants cannot. A few plants or microbes can take up nitrogen in form of ammonia. So this ammonia can be converted into nitrates. Then these nitrates can be converted to nitrates. And the process of conversion of ammonia to nitrates is what they call nitrification. And it is aided by nitrosomonas bacteria. However, still a few plants can take up nitrogen in form of nitrates. So these nitrates shall be converted into nitrates by nitrobacter. So these nitrates are the ones that will be taken up by most of the plants and living and other organisms that are free living within the soil. However, we are looking at the supply of nitrogen in nature. So if this nitrogen is not taken up by plants and other microbes, it can be lost within the soil by a process called leaching. So leaching is the movement of nutrients from the upper layers to the lower layers of the soil, or it can still be lost in groundwater. Nitrogen can be lost in groundwater. Or these nitrates can alternatively be converted back into atmospheric nitrogen, a process called denitrification, and in most of the cases it is aided by a certain microbe called Micrococcus denitrificans. These have the potential to get nitrates and convert them back into atmospheric nitrogen. So in this video, we've looked at the balance or supply of nitrogen in nature. We said it can be fixed using industrial products, can be fixed biologically by fixers, saprophytes, and interdistic fixers. Plants and animals also can aid in the process of nitrogen fixation by dying, the process we call death and decay. When you die and we decay, we add ammonium compound to the soil, or by adding wastes like urea, uric acid that also contain nitrogen compounds. Then we say these ammonium compounds can be converted into nitrites, then into nitrates, a process of nitrification by nitrosomonas bacteria, then nitrates by nitrobacter. So these nitrates will be taken up by the plant. If not, they will be lost in groundwater or through leaching. Or they can be converted back to atmospheric nitrogen by denitrification by Micrococcus denitrificans. Till next time.